This is Grow Omaha Uncut, where you can watch our radio show, including what goes on in the commercial breaks. And be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons.
Well, good morning and welcome to the show. Jeff Beals at your service. We are in the KFAB studio high above Underwood Avenue in beautiful downtown Dundee, and you will not find another show anywhere in town that focuses on business expansion, real estate construction, the overall growth of the city and the metro area. Our sponsors are Dingman's Collision Center and D&M Roofing and Siding. My co-host Trenton Magid has the weekend off, and in his place is a name that you know and you have heard of before, Jorge Sotolongo. Good morning, Jorge.
Good morning, Jeff. How are you?
I'm very good, but I'm probably a little better rested than you are. Congratulations are in order. For the third time, you're a new dad.
That's right. That's right. We had the baby Wednesday, and in record timing, I'm on Grow Omaha today.
Yeah. So, and you don't even look like you just went through birth and delivery, and you're here bright and early, and I'm quite impressed that you're able to fulfill this duty after such a big event in the Sotolongo family history this week.
I appreciate it. Well, Joanna knows when Jeff Beals calls, you answer. So.
That's true. I wish more people felt the same way. So this is a son. So now you have what? One girl and two boys.
Yep. Girl, boy, boy.
Oh, congratulations. Well, folks, if you missed it this week, you definitely want to check out our Grow Omaha Eats restaurant review by Sarah Baker Hansen. Our Grow Omaha restaurant reviews are sponsored by Cheer Athletics. Cheer Athletics is the nation's #1 all-star cheer gym, 12 locations worldwide. The Omaha location is in Papillion, southwest of highways 50 and 370. And just an outstanding organization to teach kids leadership, competition, all sorts of teamwork and communication skills, and physical fitness as well. So this week we talked about the Mill on Leavenworth. Jorge, the Mill is amazing. So it started out many years ago as a coffee shop in Lincoln. In fact, when I was back in college and grad school in Lincoln, I remember going to the Mill. And they decided they wanted to expand into the Omaha area. So they took this older historic building at 31st and Leavenworth, and the results are amazing, absolutely beautiful. And the product is good. Sarah's review was quite positive. But what's interesting to me is that it's a sign of more and more of that development along the Leavenworth corridor, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a great corridor. We've seen a lot of good stuff come through Planning Board. You'll drive through there and you'll see some new residential projects and some new some kind of TIF projects as well. So very good stuff. I don't drink coffee, but I do like the coffee shop.
I love coffee shops. I love the smell of coffee, and when I'm there, I drink tea. So everyone's happy.
He's a healthy boy.
I've not usually had that adjective tied to my name, but I'll take it because I like the way that it sounds. Well, let's get into our news of the week, which is brought to you by Eagle Mortgage. EagleMortgageCompany.com is where you can find them online. If you want to stop by the office Monday through Friday, they're open at 114th and Davenport. But whether you call them, email them, or visit them, the reason you want to talk with them is for a mortgage, and they do such a great job of it. They listen to people. They kind of figure out what your goals are, look at your background, and then they can shop banks. They have relationships with a ton of them, and so they can get you the best deal possible. They're not like a bank that obviously only can use themselves. They have a lot of them, FHA, VA, conventional loans, and they do all of it. Holly Schneiderwind and her team is very customer service focused. So if you're thinking about making the big decision, making the plunge, buying a new house, talk to Eagle Mortgage, EagleMortgageCompany.com. All right, well, first up on the news this week, Alaska Airlines will add a second nonstop flight from Omaha to Seattle-Tacoma International Airport. They already have one nonstop every day of the week. The second one is going to be like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday thing. So altogether, there will be 10 nonstops to Seattle each week. And presumably, I think you can come back home nonstop as well.
That'd be great. Do you think we're back to pre-pandemic nonstops out of Omaha? Or we're not there yet?
We're not. We're not there because there are a few that we're still missing. Like before the pandemic, We had I know we had a nonstop to Philadelphia, which I don't believe exists. We had a nonstop to Toronto, which does no longer exist.
We had more California options too.
Yes.
I know my wife's from California, so we do travel, and that's when I noticed.
Yeah. L.A. and San Francisco, we have those, but they're not as frequent as they were before the pandemic.
That's right.
And then there's the one market that's been bugging me that we've never had nonstops to, as far as I know. We've never had it, and that's Boston. It's a big business market, a major, college and university market. And it always seems to me that that's the one last major market where we've always had a hole in our nonstop flight offerings.
Did we have a nonstop to Mexico at one point?
Not that I know of.
That makes a lot of sense to me.
It does. Maybe like a Cancun or thing. So many people go to the Cancun area.
It's not far. It's the same time zone. It makes a lot of sense going from Omaha.
Yeah.
I feel like that should be a nice,
It's probably just a matter of time. We have international customs capabilities at Epley, but we don't have a regularly standing operation for that. Question would be, when the new $600 million terminal opens in a few years, is that the time where maybe you could dedicate the space and have a regularly scheduled flight from, one or two of the Mexican destinations? I don't know. It'd be interesting. Like Kansas City is double our market size, and I wonder how many Mexican nonstops they have, if any.
Yeah, I think they have a few.
Probably a couple.
I think people would be surprised just how many people hop on a bus just to go visit family in Mexico from Omaha. There's
really?
a lot more than you think.
That'd be a hell of a bus ride.
People do it consistently. I
Wow.
talk to people that do it all the time.
Wow. Yeah. That bus ride is like a life commitment.
Yeah.
To drive that far
And
in a
it's
bus.
not cheap,
Yeah. Well, because a bus is not like just driving your car to Mexico. Because, if I was going to drive my car to the border, I'd get in, drive, spend one night, sleep 7 hours, get up and drive the rest, right? No, a bus stops all the time. A friend of mine, no, it was one of my sisters years ago, took a bus from Omaha to L.A. when she was in college. And I think it was like a 6-week experience or something. It took forever.
I had a listing in South Omaha that, we talked for a while with a bus terminal that wanted to go there for this very purpose.
Really?
Yes.
Huh. That would have been a good thing to come to fruition.
It would have been. I think it might still, so we'll keep you posted.
Okay, so we won't do anything to jinx it. Well, the Visit Omaha has announced the 2023 Omaha Metropolitan Area Tourism Awards. These recognize best tourism-related businesses in Douglas, Sarpy, and Potawatomi counties. Over 18,000 people voted on this. So for 2023, Douglas County Best Attraction, Jean Leahy Mall. At the riverfront, runners-up were Junk Stock and the Durham Museum. No Henry Dorley Zoo and Aquarium, which is the thing that brings in people from the whole country and the world. Best Hotel, Hotel Deco. Runner-ups were the Omaha Marriott Regency and Kempton Cottonwood Hotel. Best Restaurant, the winner, Block 16. And runners-up, Monarch Prime and Upstream Brewing Company.
Wow, a lot of love for Hotel Deco on this list.
Yeah, because Monarch Prime is inside that hotel. Good place. Best Retail Business, winner, Borsheim's. Runners-up, Novella Eve and Mangelson's. Mangelson's, yeah. So apparently
the best Halloween costumes in town.
When I was the kid, they used to say, Mangelson's, the one-of-a-kind kind of everything store.
It kind of does have everything.
Yeah, I can still remember that. Mangelson's, one-of-a-kind kind of everything store. And there used to be, Roger Olson, our producer, knows this. There used to be a 2-lane tunnel just south of Interstate 80 on 84th Street. And it was horrible, and the traffic backups in the 70s were awful. And they would say, one-of-a-kind kind of everything store just north of that awful tunnel.
That's it.
Do you remember that, Roger?
Oh, very well.
Jorge wasn't born yet, so he wouldn't remember that.
And then you'd get your dad to try to take 84th Street so he'd honk the horn and you could hear the echo in the tunnel.
My dad's probably listening, and he's probably nodding his head because I would ask him to do the same exact thing.
My kids are listening, and they're definitely terrified by that voice.
Yeah. One-of-a-kind kind of everything store. At any rate, we digress. Potawatomi County Best Attraction, Dreamland Theater. I don't even know what that is. And then runners-up, Prairie Crossing Vineyard and Winery and Hitchcock Nature Center. Best Hotel, Potawatomi County. Winner, Ameristar. Runners-up, Hilton Garden Inn, Council Bluffs, and Country Inn and Suites. Best restaurant, the Back 40 Bar and Grill. Runners-up, Garcia's Family Mexican Restaurant and 712 Eat and Drink. Let's see, should we do Sarpy County?
Yes.
Best attraction, Sarpy County Museum. Runners-up, Werner Park and the Bellevue Berry Farm and Pumpkin Ranch.
And the Amazon warehouse.
And the Amazon, because what tourist doesn't flock to the Amazon warehouse?
That's right.
Hey, no Vala's pumpkin patch. Vala's lost out to the Bellevue Berry Farm.
Yeah, the Berry Farm is super fun. I mean, they've just done a lot of good programming there. Yeah.
Okay, so best restaurant winner in Sarpy County, El Vallarta Mexican Restaurant. Gretna, runners-up, Cafe Diem and Billy's Gretna Cafe. Best retail business in Sarpy County, The Candle House. Runners-up, Robin's Nest, Springfield, and Shadow Lake Town Center. So there you have it, your tourism awards. All right, a few things here before we wrap up the news. Big news out of Lincoln. The Nebraska Unicameral passed the $5.3 billion state budget this week and looked through it. Nebraska Examiner had a real nice article about it, and I pulled a few things out of the article, Jorge, that I thought would be of interest to Grow Omaha listeners, economic development type stuff. One, the budget included $10 million to help Sarpy County with sewer expansion work. This is an ongoing thing because Sarpy County, fast-growing county, third largest, we've only been able to develop about half the county. So this continues the sewer expansion, which will make Sarpy County more developable.
I agree. This is crucial to having that first domino effect in that southern growth, and I think it's going to be faster than West Omaha.
Yeah, it'll just boom. It'll just explode once more and more of this land is opened, because development follows sewers. If you don't have a sewer,
oh boy,
no development.
There's sewers and jurisdictional issues and all kinds of stuff, but they're going to figure it out.
Yeah, if you want to know the importance to sewers and understand the importance of sewers towards real estate development, my answer is just think about it, and it'll come to you.
Go talk to the Sarpy planning department.
$20 million for Metro Community College to prepare workers in the event Nebraska lands a computer chip manufacturer.
This is interesting.
Very interesting. My guess is you only do something like this if the Greater Omaha Chamber of Commerce or the Omaha Economic Development Partnership or one of the others in the state is pretty hot and heavy working with a computer chip manufacturer.
And I think it kind of goes along with some of the rumors and the rumblings we've been hearing about the legislature passing this sort of pro-chip legislation, potentially a user in tow to come and build a facility in Nebraska. I think this would be a big deal for the economic development.
Let's hope. That could be really, really exciting. Okay, and then $30 million to Creighton University to help pay for their new health sciences building and, more interestingly, baseball fields. There was talk, Creighton had requested $50 million. They got $30, but Creighton and College World Series of Omaha are saying that the NCAA wants practice facilities really close to Charles Schwab Field, and then Creighton likes the idea of their baseball games being on campus. They don't draw enough people to justify being in a 25,000 seat stadium. So I think they have some campus improvement things. I think $30 million was probably a pretty good victory for CU.
Yeah, I think it's going a long way. And I think with the Builders District and everything going on there with the private development we're seeing, I think that probably helped,
Yeah, a nice move forward for North Downtown and Creighton University. All right, we're going to take our first break of the show. And when we come back, we're going to be talking with Arun Agarwal. He is the head of White Lotus Development. We talked about White Lotus Development last week because that's the company that will be doing Civic Square, the old Civic Auditorium site downtown. So you're listening to Grow Omaha. Jeff Beals and Jorge Sotolongo substituting for Trenton Magid. We're brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and D&M Roofing and Siding. Back in a couple minutes on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
Hi, I'm Pastor Jeff Treat.
All right, so is that Arun?
Here and on time.
Okay.
Great, perfect time.
So we'll just talk to, we'll just kind of talk to him about the details, about an overview.
It's a good segue. We were kind of talking about downtown, right? That area.
Yeah.
I'm curious, just to hear what that site really serves. Who does it serve?
Yeah.
Creighton,
Let's ask him
does it
that.
serve
Yeah.
Downtown, what's the vision there?
Why? Because I could see it The center of activity downtown is the Hardy-Farnham corridor and the 10th Street corridor. But north downtown and Creighton have a lot going on. So this could be kind of to bridge the two of them.
Agreed.
Yeah. There's that talk, there was that long-term urban core plan that kind of talked about tearing down part of 480 for a few blocks and making it street level. And I totally get it. I
don't see how it'll work.
I'm just not ready to go there yet. I don't like the idea of taking connectivity away. Although it would definitely be good for the civic site.
With all this talks about I-80 and all the expansions they want to do there, I would be surprised if they then were to close or effectively have a negative impact on traffic somewhere else.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense to me.
It doesn't. No.
And what would you do? I mean, the whole width of the highway would be the street level?
Yeah, I think it'd probably be like a 6-lane divided boulevard because
Between where?
You'd come over the river from Council Bluffs, and then right about by the Hilton, you would drop down to ground level, and they would go at ground level till about probably 19th or 20th Street, and then rise up to go on and become a freeway again. To me, you're only going to get a few square blocks out of the deal. And the other thing is you get rid of all that connectivity and speed of access around. And we already have tons and tons and tons of underwhelming blocks downtown that could be redeveloped. We don't need the land.
Maybe they think that section of highway is underutilized and they'd rather send them to 80.
Yeah, or up, the stores around to the airport and all that. But I get it, but I just I think as the metro area continues to grow and all that, I don't like the idea of getting rid of extra
What are you going to fill
capacity.
in there? You've got a big convention center, you've got big buildings, there's nothing to do.
I think it'd just be more of the type of development that is coming to the city.
Streetcars.
More north downtown.
Yeah, it would be basically it's like you built a streetcar almost, where it's like you just have the residual development all around it.
But like I say, because we have so many surface lots, so many crappy 1- and 2-story buildings that are architecturally insignificant, we've got plenty of room to develop downtown and midtown without having to get rid of that freeway.
There's a lot to redensify still.
Yeah. Thanks, Rod. So when is Joanna home yet?
Yeah.
Oh, she's out of the hospital and everything. I suppose it was Wednesday. Yeah.
It was really quick for us. It was like we went to the hospital 12:30, like noon, 12:30 p.m. on Wednesday. 3:32 p.m. the baby was born. We were home by 8:30 p.m. the next day.
Like drive-through service.
And you were discharged at 4. And you were discharged at 4.
Everything's drive-through these days.
Why is there a shortage of some?
All right, here we go. Arun's ready.
What about big changes at Fox and CNN? Hear the interview podcast link. Morning news page, KFAB.
And Grow Omaha's back, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and D&M Roofing and Siding. Jorge Sotolongo from the NAI NP Dodge and member of the Omaha City Planning Board is substituting for Trenton Maggot. I'm Jeff Beals. Last week we talked about Civic Square. Renderings were released, looked pretty impressive. This is the major development planned for the old Civic Auditorium site. Well, we wanted to get some more details, so today we have the developer of that project, Arun Agarwal, who is ahead of White Lotus Development. Good morning, Arun. Welcome back to the show.
Hey, Jeff. How are you? Long time. Good to see. Good to hear from you and you, Jorge.
Hey, you too, Arun.
Yeah, we're very overdue for having you on the show and all that. So, well, first of all, those were some pretty cool pictures, renderings that came out for the Civic Square. Give us a little overview of that project.
Yeah, thanks for asking. I'm glad, and you get a little nervous putting yourself out there and starting to share vision, and especially in something as significant as a civic site. And this project, overwhelmingly, we had positive responses so far. So I'm thrilled that everybody is feeling motivated and invigorated for that redevelopment of that site. I think the culmination was a bit of an aha moment when introducing streets back into that site came about, and when we start to draw it out, and we kind of realized a few things about living in Omaha, and one of myself in particular, we're spoiled parkers. We like to drive around the block 2-3 times before we find a spot that's like 2 stalls closer, and by cutting the streets into it, it introduced street front parking, and the site and the renderings that everybody's seen. That's based upon, frankly, a plan that allows like very convenient parking for that size development so far. So that's one. And the other thing is businesses and tenants like line of sight. So we want our sign above the door. And so again, by introducing the streets, we've increased convenience, we've increased parking, and we've increased line of sight and visibility for those respective businesses that will end up there. Yes. So 2 things that I think that came to light that's part of the influence of the renderings that everybody's seen so far.
Yeah, I think it's a really smart design. I commend you guys on that. And I think like you said, you've kind of increased that surface area of visibility and parking and access. I think it's a great addition. Arun, can you talk a little bit about, who is this development for? I mean, it sits in an interesting part of downtown. Who is it serving? What's the primary kind of customer, resident person that's going to enjoy this site?
Yeah, great question. First, I have to admit that when approaching the city about redeveloping the site, we looked at it as kind of a lesser site in the grand scheme of things. A significant investment by the city, philanthropic community, and corporate community into different parts. The riverfront being a prime example. The stunning redevelopment of the riverfront has invigorated, investment in downtown. And now followed by Mutual of Omaha and Kiewit Luminarium and now the streetcar. So when we looked at the civic site, we kind of thought about it as an afterthought almost. It seems like it's 2-3 blocks in a different direction. And I'm guilty of that as well. And I was actually heading to Creighton University to go actually watch a basketball practice. And I'm like, let me venture down and take that exit that was the Civic Auditorium exit. And it was remarkable that when we think about investing in the urban core and that the heartbeat of any city is in our central business district, came to realize that actually the Civic Auditorium site is actually the best site in downtown, in the sense that our investment in our utilization of downtown has to be from the entire city and the community, right? So our suburban residents come down. People went to the Lizzo concert last night, right? So they're venturing down from different parts of the city and neighboring cities, getting downtown and getting to it goes through that civic site. It is by far the best accessible and mobile-friendly site in our urban core, and it lends itself to bring different uses that have been absent in this redevelopment of downtown. Grocery obviously being one of them that seems to be very high on the list to kind of solidify the residential community. So to answer your question, I mean, Jorge, think about it. We have a phenomenal university that's adjacent. You have 2-3 Fortune 500 companies that have 2 of which have recent investments in that urban core directly adjacent or within blocks. So I guess I would say it's going to accomplish a few things. One, I think the expansion and the solidification of Creighton University and attracting more students. I think that getting more people to live downtown, which is certainly going to reinvigorate. Clearly, downtown is struggling on the office, and there's a lot of talk about office and whether office is dying or does this remote work or work from home, and that's certainly something that we have to consider. And so I think that it's actually for everyone. And when we think about what does this development need to accomplish, it's not just about the buildings. And when we think about it, it has to be a part of the package that we go and market outside of our community to bring in talent, desperate talent, into our city. So when we think about that, it's irrelevant what I think. It's probably irrelevant no offense, Jeff, to what you think or Trenton thinks. We should be talking to the new grads that are the soon-to-be graduates from Creighton University, and what do they want in their central business district, because they're the ones who we're trying to attract and keep. So I think that's a better question for them than for any of us. And I think a lot of our questions have been to a population that we want to attract and maintain in our community.
Another couple minutes with Arun Agarwal, head of White Lotus, which is developing the Civic Square mixed-use development on the 4-city block Civic Auditorium site. Arun, you talked about a grocery store. The renderings also show a fitness club, other retail, restaurant, residential. Specifically, though, about that grocery store, that's been a tough pull for downtown. Let me just kind of ask you frankly, how confident are you that you can get one, and what kind of conversations have you had with potential grocery store tenants, if you don't mind?
Yeah, it's not an easy, and I want to be frank about that. It's not an easy list, but I am very confident that we will achieve the plan that we've kind of set forth. So I think, we're in feasibility. We've had ample conversations. I'm very focused, and we are very focused to bringing one that has brand recognition. We've got a lot of feedback on affordability, certainly. And I think one of the things that I think the timing, Jeff, to answer that question, is the timing is ideal, right? We have friendly government. We have significant investment. I think the recognition, and it's a forgotten fact about this mobility and access. So when we geofenced that area, we found out that the majority of people in this geofenced area that surrounds the civic site actually go across the river to shop for groceries.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. And so that was a remarkable exercise to find out. So I think, and I think that solidifies that there's a need. And I think when people recognize that the access and the regional pull for this particular site, it will attract the grocer. I am very confident about that.
Well, Arun, the renderings, like I said earlier, are beautiful. Heck of a project. We commend you and your colleagues for taking it on, and we wish you the best of success with it. And also, thank you for joining us this morning on Grow Omaha.
No, I think first, thanks for letting me on and talking about it. It's going to require all of us. So it's not a White Lotus project, frankly. I want to make sure that NAI and the broader community, it's what you want there. It's what you put in is what you get out. So I encourage everybody to think through it and share and participate. So I appreciate it, Jeff and Jorge, for including us.
Well said. Thank you so much, Arun. We appreciate that.
Our pleasure. Arun Agarwal, head of White Lotus Development, talking about Civic Square. We're going to take our middle of the show break for the news. And when we come back, we'll have our commercial real estate development spotlight brought to you by Nodal Companies. And we're also going to be talking about some thoughts on the Kansas City streetcar and what it could mean for downtown Omaha. You're listening to Jeff Beals and Jorge Sotolongo, substituting for Trenton. We're brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and D&M Roofing and Siding. Back in a moment on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
Driven by any of Anderson.
That was a good interview.
I said nerd when I said, holy fuck, I'm not sexing. That was...
What did you start
It's like, when I see, I accidentally called him his cousin's name. I just see everybody. I see them all, so it's like so...
You know the whole family.
I know everybody.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
You send the text, you'll be fine. Yeah.
Yeah, no, he noticed.
I was like this regularly.
He gave a little chuckle.
He chuckled. He knew exactly what I did. Wow. Wow.
Oh, the apology text will do the trick.
You checked
Holy
off
shit.
quick.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys may know
Yeah.
amongst yourselves, but to the
99.5% of listeners went right over their heads. So,
Let's check in with
Well.
sales in Council Bluffs.
After more than 60 years in the business.
Oh, I love
60
this guy.
years right here in the metro.
Of course, it's some camper company.
Ed Leach.
Yeah, some company. He's always like, coffee's always good. The rest is like years ago, he had some bit where he's like, Big Bob in the parts department. The guy cracks me up. I've never met him, but it just he sounds.
Ed?
Yeah, you ever met Ed Leach? Yeah.
And
Did a couple remotes back in my days with the
Ready to take
cat.
control of your phone plan? Well, then you better take that next
Yeah.
turn to a Verizon
I'm not a camper
store.
kind of guy, so
My
I'd never
plan
go
from
there.
Verizon is
But
the kind of control we
I
all deserve.
love
And
the
exactly what
bits
you
on
want.
the radio.
Only pay for what you need. Get my
I'd actually
plan
like to have
at
a
your
camper
Verizon
for
store today.
2 days. It would be fun to like drive it somewhere, do that little camp thing for one night, see what that's like, drive it home, and never do it again.
Depends on how. There's
Not in a camper. I was a Boy Scout, so I used to like go camping in tents, or sometimes we'd even camp with no tent. We'd lay there on the dirt. That's what we
like the old Western days.
Yeah, we didn't need tents.
So eat a can of beans, build a fire.
Yeah, sometimes we'd or just bring things from. Sometimes we just bring things from the grocery store.
Oh God!
In our backpacks.
Oh, see, it depends on what you want to do. If you want to go tent camping, that's great. I mean, there's so many levels. I mean,
sometimes we would not sleep with a tent. We'd just be out the side.
We've got a 30-foot camper.
Yeah.
My wife loves it more than I do.
How often do you use it?
Well, now we have it available. We have it available all the time because we parked it in a permanent spot. That also gives you a place to store it over the winter.
Are campers like boats? Like the most exciting day in a boat owner's life is the day you buy it and the day you sell it?
No.
Campers
No, they're nowhere near.
Oh, okay.
I mean, there's maintenance that you
That must be really
Shutter's full.
I can't believe
You are tired. Yeah. Did you respond?
Yeah. God. Oh my God. So stupid. My wife texts me, uh-oh.
And the funny thing is all the people like watching Uncut are like, why does he care so much? Man, we
Oh
probably
my gosh, that's great though. Look. He's bouncing the thing.
Oh, well, let me see that. So that he has a little one?
Yeah, he must have a little one too.
Oh, I had no idea. Everyone's procreating.
It's kind of, yeah.
I already
Just happens.
I procreated 17 and 15 years.
I know, I'm kind of like, we went quickly and I'm kind of like, I'm excited to just be on to the next phase, kind of.
Yeah. Done with the baby making phase and now the kid raising phase.
For sure right now, Joanna during delivery exclaimed, I'm never doing this the last one. I was like, she didn't say that was the last time.
Hopefully Joanna's not watching Uncut.
No, she knows.
It's the last one! You son of a bitch!
Very light. Mostly clear, 50 overnight tonight. Sunny and 80 for a high on Sunday. And
Don't do this to me again.
we'll have a high of 81. And there's your forecast. I'm Roger Olson.
Tired of walking into a dull and uninspiring workspace? Want to inject some life into your environment? Look no further than Ren's.
Well, 3 kids is a good number.
3? Yeah.
3 is
You
good.
more than, yeah,
That's
because,
very common in this area.
yeah,
I think.
3, and, because coastal is kind of more like 2, and
2 is not uncommon.
more like 3, yeah.
But 3 is.
I'm one of 4 when I was growing up, and when I was growing up, that was not the norm, but it wasn't horribly uncommon. My brother has 4, and I not too many people, not too many of my friends have 4.
There were, yeah, I don't.
2 and 3 is the most common.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we had 3.
yeah,
3 kids?
yeah. I was one of 4.
You want another girl.
No, I'm just so glad we got one. Like, and Valentina's kind of the personality that I'm glad she gets to be the firstborn and the only girl, and
the
she gets to
oldest, yeah.
retain her
she's-
crown of
she's
like
the
her little
queen.
princess queen
Yeah.
crown, yeah. And she's just, she's very responsible, likes to help, and she's gonna run that house. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
Oh yeah,
She'll be-
I can totally see that.
She
When
is
they're
like-
older, she'll be running those boys'
She
lives.
runs I think she's like the nucleus of like the whole family. I'm not even kidding. Everybody focuses on her, and that's good. I'll let her
How old
have
is
that.
she?
She's 3.5.
She's adorable. She is just a naturally
Yeah.
adorable human.
She is.
Yeah.
She is. She's very, and she's just super empathetic. It's kind of crazy. I don't know.
Did you ever hear the story about when we were at Jay Gilbert's?
Oh, yeah,
and,
so classic.
Jorge's mom, who I had not yet met at the time, was holding Valentina, but I didn't see Jorge or Joanna. And I'm like, there's this woman holding, I'm like, that's Valentina. And she looked at me like, who the hell are you? And get the away from my granddaughter. And why do you know her name? Like, that's Valentina. That's when I got to meet your mom.
Yeah, that's right.
She's lovely. But she wasn't too comfortable with me when some stranger whenever knew her granddaughter's name, who at the time was like 2. Maybe 1.5.
30.
Jorge was out parking the car.
Okay.
All right.
Successfully squashed. How many times has Trenton had to do immediate damage control after saying something? Because he's got everybody in his phone, too.
You are substituting for Trenton.
Exactly. I guess it's working out well for me.
Download it today.
I know you're busy. Sometimes you can't be radio side at 8:50 for the Rosie Did You Nosy, but don't worry. It's easy to get anytime on the podcast page under Jim Rose at KFAV.com.
And welcome back to the show. Jeff Beals here, along with Jorge Sotolongo from NAI NP Dodge, and also a member of the City of Omaha Planning Board. Jorge is substituting for Trenton Magid this week. We're brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and D&M Roofing and Siding. Both of those are just outstanding companies you want to keep in your mental Rolodex anytime you need them. They're kind of alike if you think about it. Something happens with a storm, you need to have your roof fixed. You run into someone or someone runs into you, you need to have your car fixed. So both D&M Roofing and Siding and Dingman's Collision Center are in the fixin' business, and they do a great job of it. Well, without any further ado, it's time for our commercial real estate development spotlight of the week, which is brought to you by Noddle Companies. Noddle Companies is the premier commercial real estate development firm in town. Like when you think of real estate developer around here, you think of Noddle Companies. And they do things in a variety of different states around the country. But here in Omaha, Exarban Village, Builders District, River's Edge, Steel Ridge, Village Point Medical Campus, and many, many other projects over the years. Well, last week we talked about the 4-story timber building. This is in the Builders District, 1501 Mike Fahey Street. And last week, Jorge, I mentioned during the commercial real estate development spotlight that this Noddle Companies project was going vertical. And it is. They're working on the second floor. Pretty soon they'll do the other 2. But I had mentioned that some of it was steel beams and some of it was mass timber because that's kind of an in thing. And the vertical supports were timber. I drove by yesterday doing my show prep, and I noticed in the middle of the building, even a lot of the vertical supports will be that mass timber project. So this is Omaha's first modern mass timber building, but this could be something you see more and more of in Omaha and other places.
I can't wait to go drive by. I haven't done it yet, and I think it's going to be one of those construction projects that's just so, observed and just people are going to be following this for a while. I keep wondering in my head that if like the elevator is like a couple guys with pulleys or something and they just like pulling you up the whole floor,
An elevator operator, yeah. And they close the steel cage after you get into the elevator.
No, the technology, to be honest, it must be amazing. So I'm excited to go see it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool stuff. If you are a construction nerd like I am, go ahead and drive by 1501 Mike Fahey Drive, and you can see what this building looks like, seeing part of the skeleton out of mass timber, part of it out of steel. It's pretty cool looking. And that's your commercial real estate development spotlight of the week, brought to you by Noddle Companies. NoddleCompanies.com. Jorge, I was in Kansas City doing a program for a conference down there on Tuesday, and I had a couple hours off in the middle of the day. So I rode the Kansas City streetcar. And really cool experience. They've had billions of dollars of development in that corridor ever since that streetcar opened a few years ago. So I wanted to ride it. A couple observations. One, they're doubling the length of it. It's now going to go all the way down past the Country Club Plaza for those people that are familiar with Kansas City. Great grocery store right in the middle of their downtown. The streetcar goes along it. And then it terminates on the north side at their River Market, City Market area. And they have a great public market there. It's been there forever. But with everything we're doing in downtown Omaha, I think we need a public market. So those are a couple observations from my streetcar ride on Tuesday.
I got a couple questions for you. So Now that you've ridden it, what do you think is the number one reason? Is it ridership or is it development?
Development. I mean, I think people in Omaha will use it for ridership quite a bit because the development and the ridership are symbiotic. And I've long said that the things our streetcar will connect are actually better to get started with than the original Kansas City route, because the original Kansas City route just terminated at the Crown Plaza at their their Science Museum with their old train depot, which is really cool, but it didn't go all the way to the plaza. Ours, downtown, north downtown, downtown, midtown, and terminating at Blackstone and UNMC. So we already have some better bookends than I think they do.
Agreed.
Theirs will be even better when it goes to the plaza, but.
Yep.
But
I still think ours is the better project because I do think from the beginning the route is bookended perfectly.
Yes.
And the infill is going to be really well planned. I mean, if you think about all the empty stuff that's on that route, I think it's just going to be fantastic. And I think overall as a project, it's a better one. But it's a great one to look at, I think, to compare.
I would 100% agree with everything you just said there. And there is so much available ground to develop along the streetcar line. And because it's going to happen, we're already in our real estate office and just from Grow Omaha people that we know, hearing about crazy potential projects that could be coming. I mean, I can't imagine they'll all come true. It'd be cool if they did, but we're hearing about some crazy cool projects along that streetcar line.
Well, on the Kansas City line, that crossroads area, you would have never thought that would be anything. And now it's steel going up everywhere because of that car. So
yeah, in fact, some people are familiar with the Power and Light District in downtown Kansas City. The streetcar line goes right along the western part of that. And they have built 3 high-rise condos. The third one's under construction still, right there. And I think we could expect to see the same thing. Now, granted, Kansas City is more than double our market size. But as Jorge was saying earlier, the way our city is laid out fortuitously will kind of give our streetcar project a nice jump start, a head start, if you will.
The condo conversation is interesting. It makes me think that actually we're probably on the verge of radically changing the availability of condos in downtown Omaha, and being able to own something downtown is going to be available much more than it has in the past.
Absolutely, especially with some of the legal changes in Nebraska a couple years ago. I think that condo environment in Omaha is kind of a sleeping monster that's going to rise from its slumber here pretty soon. Well, Jorge, let's take our final break of the show. And when we come back, I know everyone loves the lightning round, and I'm looking at the list and I see all sorts of things on it. So stay with us, folks. The Turner Construction Lightning Round is just around the corner. You're listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and D&M Roofing and Siding. Back in a moment on News Radio 1110 KFAB. I kind of like my little bit about D&M and Dingman's both being in the fix-it business.
I like that.
They make things right after disasters.
Yeah. After Trenton gets hit by a 15-year-old girl on the side of the road.
Dingman's makes it right. God, that's a crazy story.
I know.
So, go off. Any of these you just want to comment on, or make little comments on, feel free. I'll start with. So we'll start with.
How often do we talk about crumble cookies? I feel like a lot.
Yeah, they keep opening.
Yeah. Let it fry. What's let it fry?
Let it fly.
Let it fly.
That's my crappy handwriting.
Let it fry. That's like the Puerto Rican version of Frozen.
That'll be a good restaurant.
Yeah, let it fry.
Let it fry.
It's a Frozen-themed Puerto Rican restaurant.
Let it fry. We specialize in grilled vegan dishes. Let it fry. Speaking of fry, I went to Wilby's Comfort Food with Brian Thomas yesterday for lunch.
Yeah.
It's very fried, but it's good.
Nice.
It's kind of southern.
Where's this at?
It's in Papillion, that's a suburb, Roger.
I'm familiar with Papillion.
Is it a little too far for you to go? I mean, if you won't go past 680 West Omaha, why would you go to Papillion?
Papillion is in the buffer.
It's awfully far south.
Well,
Papillion is further away from you than West Omaha is.
Papillion's far.
Yeah,
I feel like people don't realize how far it can be.
But I live south of Dodge, so it's not as far.
Yeah, that's true. Well, anyway, it's called Wilby's Comfort.
And all the roads connect.
Yeah, Brian had catfish. I had fried shrimp. It was like, okay, well, you got to go when you're in the mood. It's fried.
Okay.
But it's quite tasty. It's quite tasty. Although,
here we go.
We're not supposed to use that word tasty.
Who said that?
It's kind of
Clay Travis and Bug Sexton are right here. Weekdays from 11
It's not as bad as a grown man saying yummy.
1110 KFAB.
And welcome back to the show. Jeff Beals sitting next to Jorge Sotolongo, and he is substituting for Trenton Maggot. It's time for the Turner Construction Lightning Round. This is when we go through a lot of things in a short period of time. Thank you, Turner Construction, for making this possible. By the way, Turner has outstanding people here in the Omaha area. Big company. You know, they have a bench of talent and deep resources because they have offices in major cities all across the world. Really, they're a big time deal. But here in Omaha, you know, I had breakfast on Monday with a couple of people that work for Turner here in Omaha, and it's like talking with a local contractor because they know everyone and they have all of this intimate Omaha knowledge. So many of their people are from Omaha, and so it's kind of cool to talk to a company that's got those deeper resources that has that local contractor feeling. So Turner would be a good choice for you and your company if you're thinking about building a new building or renovating an existing one. Turner Construction. All right, Jorge, let's go. Stokes Grill and Bar is renovating their store at 136th and West Dodge Road. They've been there for a while. Actually, they started in 1997 in a different spot, but they moved there quite a few years ago and going to be just kind of bringing it up and modernizing it, but still keeping that same Stokes look. And then guess what? Another cookie place. Everyone seems to love gourmet cookies now. Crumble Cookies will hold a grand opening May 26th for its Papillion location, basically 72nd, a little bit south of Giles.
Fun fact, my daughter is their focus group, basically.
So they target 3.5-year-olds?
That's right.
Yeah, that's a meal for a 3.5-year-old, but I bet she can polish it off. Andres Tortillery has changed its name. It's now Andres Salsa Dancing. Yes, that's right. The restaurant has now become a salsa dancing place. I think they open around like 9 or 10 and go to 2 a.m. each day. So who knew? It's Andres Salsa Dancing.
There's a decent salsa scene in Omaha, Jeff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like pico de gallo, tomatilla salsa, sometimes a nice good spicy red.
Okay, well, we're going to have a conversation after the after the show.
Ollie and Hobbs Craft Kitchen is actively hiring for its new One Pacific Place location, just down the strip from Andres Salsa Dancing. They open in a few weeks. They also have an original location in Papillion. So Let It Fly. We have an official opening date for Let It Fly. A lot of people have been anticipating this, Jorge, because it's a 10,000 square foot restaurant sports bar, going to have a broadcast studio for sports podcasts in it in the Capital District, 10th and Capital. The grand opening date is June 16th. So that building in the Capital District, I think they specialize in big restaurants because they have Texas de Brazil and then that martini bar from Iowa City's coming in.
Yeah, everybody's asking for Texas de Brazil. They're like, when's it open? You know?
Yeah, and now they love it. I've still not tried it. I need to get and try that.
I haven't been there yet in Omaha, but I've been before in other places. It's great.
Yeah, who doesn't love a good Brazilian barbecue? Fill up, be a carnivore. All right, Smash Park has broken ground, officially started construction in La Vista, the Southport West area. It's going to be located immediately east of Cabela's and immediately south of Embassy Suites, if you can picture that area. It'll have 30,000 square feet of indoor space, so that will include a bar, pickleball courts, restaurant, axe throwings, a golf swing suite, and then it'll have 15,000 square feet of outdoor pickleball space open next spring. But I went to the original one in Des Moines, Iowa. The place was crazy. I can't wait for this to open.
That's going to be really fun. I feel like there's so many cool amenities in that area now. If you live even by like Werner Park and everything, if you take all that into consideration, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and that won't be the only one. Somewhere in the metro area, Chicken and Pickle is going to open, which is a direct competitor to Smash Park. So both of those are coming to the metro area. So a lot of people watch that Guy Fieri television show. And Guy Fieri's Kitchen and Bar will hold its grand opening Monday, this coming Monday, inside Harrah's Council Bluffs Casino and Hotel. No word on whether the celebrity chef with the unique hairstyle will be there in person or not, but it's going to be, it's supposed to kind of be its own restaurant, but also kind of integrate with that Stir Concert Cove that's over at Harrah's.
I think it's a good fit over there, honestly. I mean, if anything, that guy knows how to manage a brand, so got to give him credit.
Yeah, Guy Fieri coming to the metro area. Good Evans is expanding. This is a really good breakfast place out of Kearney, Nebraska, 74th and Pacific. They're going to have a second Omaha location opening this summer, just north of 204th and Maple. I tried Good Evans. I really liked it. Nice breakfast product.
Nice.
I need to get back there. It's just the current one's not too close to where I am.
And this is coming from the breakfast connoisseur, ladies and gentlemen.
You know it. I go all the time. And the music is playing, which means that we have to send Jorge back to his brand new baby and the rest of the family. Jorge, thanks for being part of the show
Thank you so
today.
much. I appreciate it.
Substituting for Trenton Maggot, who will be back next week. You've been listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center, D&M Roofing and Siding, and Turner Construction. We'll chat with you next week right here at 9 o'clock on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
If you like this video, be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. And remember, Grow Omaha is not just media. This is a mission. We are trying to build up Omaha and make it an even better place. We can only do that with your help. Share this video with your friends, neighbors, and family.